Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. No, I'm not crying. I'm just tearing up because of joy. No, I'm just really all of a sudden got hit with this massive just allergy smacked me in the face all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I'm not going to wait any longer to record this, so I apologize. Final score, if you're just tuning in, Necrons 100 to a DeathWatch 70.
Yeah, I ought to be the one that's crying. This is
man. Whew. Feels good. Feels good to go out of this with this type of win out of this into a GT. Yeah, whew, man, I don't know what, some dust got me or something there. Or maybe I am just emotional over such a solid victory.
You're all verklempt.
But this is one of the reasons I didn't want to face the list you're taking for the tournament. I needed a practice game. I appreciate you getting the practice game in here.
You needed to beat a puppy. Yeah, okay.
Wow. I wasn't going to say that.
DeathWatch is strong, but I brought a lot of
no one here at Tim's Nation condones beating puppies.
No, I brought a lot of non-competitive stuff. I wouldn't run a competitive DeathWatch list.
No, yeah.
Fun stuff. I also horribly misplayed the Spectre's kill team. Maybe we'll find out some other day if those guys are worth it or not. But it wasn't today. Yeah, no,
it allowed me to definitely get a good feel, get back in the flow for deploying my army and the movement of it. And it kind of comes into one of those things, like you said, your army, the Indomitor kill teams are scary. No matter what you say about anything with that list, the Indomitor kill teams will always be scary. They're such a vicious damage-dealing unit. And the Talon Strike picked up the king basically by themselves. Like, you had some work from the Indomitors take down the rocks, but the physical king himself was just the Indomitors. They just Talon Strike. They just did that in.
Yeah, full wound rolls and lethal was active, and he was oathed. So
and AP 4 or 5. 4 or 5?
3.
3 that time.
That wasn't the turn that came in. I didn't, because you're invulns. I didn't worry about getting the extra AP from on the turn that came in. Yep. So
and then 3 damage apiece. They just left a crater where he was. But yeah, no, I kind of felt like that was going to happen. I'm glad. I think I kind of, for what you had to dedicate into it beforehand and what I was able to still do in damage, I feel like I still at least kind of got his points out of him. But ultimately, even though I may not have gotten the points out of him for damage-wise, how much you had to put in to remove him gave me like a whole turn. And that's the value right there. How much value was out of that.
Yeah.
Reanimations were good. A lot of good time, a lot of just good positioning, good points where it's like, okay, I still can bring this back.
Resurrection Orb was pretty big.
Resurrection Orb was huge. Oh,
I made him show me the rule again. What? It's D6, not D3.
And the fact that it targets the mounted.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of, and I like that with the barges because those kind of act as my main healers. This is, and all the games I play the barges, this is the one that a barge, one of them, and any point of it, did more than most of the other games as far as damage was concerned because I switched it over to the blade. That blade, again, it was able to pick up models when you charged, putting at a position where you were meeting me on OC, and then once I battle shock the unit, I take the point. Psychomancer is so good. Little hex mark over here. He was an MVP. He scored me sabotage. He scored recover assets. And he's establishing a locus. He was over there just making a campfire the whole time. He's like, let me show you what a good little Boy Scout I can be. And he did his job. And then the hex mark over here, he was shooting down bikes. Gloctopus did work. So I'm happy that a lot of things that went back to kind of the older style of play where the overlords was taking the objective. And at one point you looked at the back, I was like, who is that? That's an overlord. And that deters you from going after him because he's just so bulky and durable. It's like, well, why am I even bothering? And then he's going to stand back up for free, Yeah,
just everything's got more durability than you think. There are a few things like the Plasmancers and Psychomancers that don't have invulns and only have 4 wounds and only toughness 4. But so often you can't choose to deal with them. You have to deal with everything that's right in front of you coming at you. And just those Plasmancers put out so much damage. Each one gets a free mini grenade with 4d6. There's on average of 2 mortals, and then their shots are AP 3 shots. So
a lot of AP 3, you noted during our game. There's a lot of AP 3 across the board. I got combat AP 3, shooting AP 3. There's a lot of it across the board, so I'm really able to kind of just cut through and get through. And a lot of the stuff is super cheap. Like the Plasmancers are cheap because you're not supposed to be doing what I'm doing. You're not supposed to be just running them by themselves. The Locust Lord, I could argue that the Locust Lord was kind of designed to be run by himself because of the Nanoscarab casket. it doesn't. He's got a lot of things that kind of lean over to the sense of like, well, if he's with a unit, you want the res orb to res the unit. But if he's by himself, Nano Scarab Casket for the 5-up, feel no pain. So it's kind of like he might have had a little bit of design to be by himself. Plasmancers, no way.
Yeah.
They were not designed to be floating around the field, zerping things.
His ability to full reroll hit and wound into something that's below half strength, it's just for himself. It doesn't.
Correct. It's not for the unit.
It's another thing that's just for himself.
So it kind of leads to the point of like he can lead the Locust heavies and the regular Locust, and he's very good for them because he gives them a 5-up crit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're lethal critting on 5s. But when you then look at some of this other stuff, it's like, well, yeah, but all these buffs too kind of work well for a solo guy. And that's Plasmancer. He's 5-up crits too for a unit he's leading. 65 points, floating little beacon of doom.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Spectrum Kill Team we didn't get to see a lot out of. They scouted, they moved. They were...
Yeah, I misplayed them. We shouldn't have put them out there until... Well, yeah, I mean, I had very few drops, so you were able to drop, but I should have put them somewhere more defensively where you wouldn't charge in there. And then I scout moved him. Yeah, I did kind of push lane. Poor decisions on my part there. Yeah.
I did kind of push lane with some of the units. I put down the things in one position. I held back some since I was able to out deploy him because single model units. And then when he put them down, I was able to place my Scorp. The reason the Scorpec and stuff were over there in that position was because he placed them already. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to put 2 Scorpex here and rip this unit off the table. Now you've put enough value over there for me to justify putting those guys down there. But we didn't get to see a lot out of them. They shot at the Overlord. Overlord tanked them. And then the Fortis kill teams, like the Indomitors, we could talk about how amazing they are. They hit so absolutely hard, especially to the closest target with all the strength boosts. It's like you don't even realize they're shooting bolters at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, strength 7, flat 3 damage heavy bolters. They're not really heavy bolters anymore.
Right. And then we're talking Oath of Moment. We're talking sustain. We're talking lethal. It really is devastating firepower, and it's scary. The longer they last, the more things that do not. They just rip off the table. Talon Strike, very quick, able to do that stuff. We've seen the success out of those. Fortis kill team. You say you're not their cost and what they did, just not overly impressed with them.
No, the same thing that happened in 9th edition. GW does a lot of just doesn't pay attention to DeathWatch very well. So obviously in this edition, they tried to remove DeathWatch from the game and give us back in the index here. That was nice. But in the Fortis kill team, we've got 2 models that have not gotten the buffs that their individual units outside the Fortis kill team have. First of all, the Infernus Marines got AP. They not the most recent balanced data slate, but the one before that, I think the Infernus Marines, their Pyroblasters went to AP1. With the ones in the Deathwatch Fortis kill team, the same model, same Pyroblaster, but they're AP0. They never got the buff. GW just wasn't paying attention when they updated. And then the bolters, the bolt rifles in there are 2 shots at strength 5, AP2, 1 damage, which is good. But when they improved the intercessors, they gave them 4 shots apiece. They're strength 4, AP1, 1 damage, but there's also 4 shots. So they didn't change the number of shots on the intercessors in the Fortis kill team. So it's one of those things where GW just doesn't pay attention to the Deathwatch. And so when they update the units that are make point changes or make rules changes for the individual units, a lot of times they're just ignoring the Deathwatch units that have those models. And in that Fortis kill team, you're really losing the benefits that separate models have. Like the Hellblasters, when they overcharge, they still die, but they don't get their shoot on death rule, which is kind of a bummer when they go. And the same thing with the Desolation Marines in there. If you hold still, they don't ignore cover, which really affects the AP0 and the AP1 because you have some 4-up saves where you're still getting cover. Even if I didn't move them and I was shooting indirectly, you're still getting the cover because they lose their special rules. So for 200 points, you have the Fortis kill team, a bunch of 2-wound toughness 4 Marines. For 270, you have the Indomitor kill team, a bunch of toughness 6, 3-wound Marines, and they shoot harder and they punch harder and they're more durable. The Fortis just isn't very impressive for me. I know I've had some comments and responses from people that really enjoy the Fortis. It's neat. I like the way my models look. I'm really happy with how they look with all the different guys in the kill team. They look really cool, but they just don't do enough. They don't perform. There's 1 power fist on the sergeant. Other than that, it's all bare hands in combat, whereas the Indomitor's got 3 aggressors with twin-linked power fists. that punch real hard and can do a lot of work. So it's not even a comparison in my mind. I wish they were better or cheaper, but they can't. For 200 points and how good they are, they just don't do it. Spectre's kill team, same thing. It's got a little bit of shooting, but for 200 points, it's just too expensive for what it does compared to the other units.
Like you said, the Spectrum kill team. Spectrum, formerly Time Warner. We'll need to see him again in the future because, like you said, it was kind of misplay. Definitely want to see him. There's a lot of stuff we'll be playing, so they can see another time. My kind of feeling with the Fortis is it's kind of runs into that realm of like, what's cool with DeathWatch is that you have such mix and match of units. But then with a unit like the Fortis kill team, you start running into, well, what's this general job? The Indomitor kill team just stacks their buffs through the roof. Then it's just like, oh, I'm shooting at a tank. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your save is. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. But like you mentioned with the artillery and not getting that ignore cover, I was concerned at first with like Plasmasters and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna lose all these crypt techs because of the damage you're doing in there. But then you're AP 0. I'm a 4-up save. I'm in cover. Now I'm getting a 3-up. You're hitting on 4s, and now as those numbers start going there, I go, oh, okay, I live with 1 or 2 wounds, and then I'll reanimate. So it wasn't as scary, and I get it's not going to happen. It's on a wish list. It would be nice to see a unit like that be able to dial in more to one of those aspects, like more of the Desolation Marines or more of the Hellblasters, to be able to at least focus on that if they're not going to get the abilities that those units have. It's not the way they're doing it. It's not the direction of DeathWatch. We see it. It's very locked in. You have this, you have this. And is it better for the... This is one thing I've actually meant to ask you a couple times. I haven't brought it up. In earlier videos, especially back in 9th edition, you mentioned a lot with DeathWatch on how difficult financially a DeathWatch army could be because of how many different kill teams and how many different boxes you have to purchase of different units to build these things. With the way that it's designed now with the kill teams, is it easier to purchase and play DeathWatch, or do you have a lot of leftover models because of certain things like Desolation Marines where you have 2 rockets in there?
Yeah. For example, the Indomitor kill team, one 10-man Indomitor kill team will cost you retail, I think it's $180 USD. Because you need $60 for a 3-man of Eradicators, $60 for a 3-man of Aggressors. I don't remember off the top of my head what 5 heavy intercessors are. It's probably around $60. So yeah, that builds a 10-man. It's $180 for a 10-man squad. So it is still pretty expensive for what you're getting there. It's a lot. It's 270 points.
Do you end up having leftovers when you build these units? Not that one, but what about the Fortis kill team? Do you have leftovers for that?
The Indomitor, you have 1 extra heavy intercessor, and you have to convert up a second heavy bolter if you just buy it like that. Yeah, the Fortis is kind of weird because
you get 3.
Yeah. What's that?
You get 3 heavy bolters in the squad?
No, you get 2, but only 1 comes in a box of 5 heavy
only 1 comes.
So,
okay.
Yeah, because it's a 10-man squad, you can take 2 heavy bolters, but if you buy one 5-man box of heavy intercessors, you only get 1 heavy bolter. But it's pretty easy to find a bit somewhere. I've converted a few up. Yeah, Fortis is also weird because it's you've got Desolation Marines, you've got Hellblasters, and you've got either heavy intercessors, or you can mix in some Infernus or some Assault Marines. For Marine players, if you're building a DeathWatch specific army and you want to build and paint it and do it all DeathWatch, then yeah, you're going to have like you might buy 4 different boxes to make a 10-man Fortis kill team. You could do it with 3 because you could do just regular intercessors, 4 of those, 4 Hellblasters, and 2 Desolation Marines. But again, it's 3 boxes for a 10-man squad. So again, we're talking $180 for a 10-man squad.
It sounds like you will still have a couple left over from that. I mean, like the Desolation, you're going to get 5 dudes, and you could not put the Desolation launcher on because you get 2, right? You get 2 rockets for them.
You get 2 Desolation Marines. You can give 1 the Vengor, or you can have them both with the Super Greg. Okay,
and then you'll have 3 more, and I mean, it is still a Marine body, so you can give them different weapon outputs. You're going to have to do the conversions, like you said. You're going to have to either have weapons hanging out, because I don't think the kit comes with just standard bolter dudes.
Yeah.
It's only those.
Yeah, like the or the regular intercessor. Sorry, the sergeant can take a power fist, but I don't think there's a power fist in the intercessor box. And then you can because it's a 10-man, you can take 2 grenade launchers, and only 1 grenade launcher comes in the regular intercessor box. If it's a 10-man box intercessors, you'll have 2 of the grenade launchers. But
so you really got to want to play DeathWatch if you're going to play DeathWatch, because you're going to have models that you can't use, and B, or that you're not going to use, I should say. And then B, you're going to have to do some conversions.
Yeah.
Now, the positive thing, though, is you do have some Marine bodies to do some cool stuff with, and some other conversions to add to other units in the future, and that. So it does give you that.
Yeah, it's always been kind of a frustrating build. And if you can find deals on things, that's how I did it. Acquired mine. Things like the Outriders and the Eradicators came from the Indomitor box. I bought a couple of those when that came out in the previous edition. So there are ways to do it. But if you're just running Marines and don't care about them being DeathWatch, then you probably have the models already. If you're an Ultramarine player, a Dark Angel player, or Blood Angel, you probably have a bunch of the models already. So you can just use them if you don't mind what color they are. But yeah, it can be a little complicated because one unit, that Fortis kill team has, the 10-man kill team has the ones I run today had 2 guys, 2 DeathWatch bolt rifles, 2 grenade launchers. So that's 2 different weapons there. The Infernus Pyroblasters. We had Hell Blasters. We had the Castellan launcher, the Super Crack, and the Vengor launcher. So we had 7 different weapons, shooting weapons, in a 10-man squad. It's not good for beginners if you're trying to learn 40K and you're new to the game. It's much easier if you take a squad where everybody has the same gun rather than Fortis kill team where you got 7 different weapon profiles you got to know.
You start having spreadsheets out there.
Yeah, it'll be like my librarius detachment spreadsheet where you have all these things you got to check off and make sure you're firing all your weapons. So, to your
original Testament, it does look really cool seeing all the different weapons on the table.
Oh yeah, I was so pleased when I took the pictures today for the Army List video. I'm like, man, these all look great. I like all the mixed kill teams. I like them all together. And again, with DeathWatch, we've got good units. We've got the DeathWatch Terminators are great. Indomitor's great. Talon Strike's great. DeathWatch Vets led by Watchmaster or Judicar really good. It'd be nice if we could get the Fortis and the Spectres to be a little bit better.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Lane, I like that, just hearing about that, because I think DeathWatch is something that a lot of people are interested in, but it's definitely an army that can get away from you real quick, because like you said, a lot of different models and stuff that you have to purchase for it. But if you are already a Marine player, that's probably the best route to go, because you can just easily swap those out and then go and play another faction like you've done, except your primary is DeathWatch. So Gilliman is in all black, ready for the DeathWatch army. Your Blood Angels, same deal. So DeathWatch is a good supplement if you have a big Marine collection, because it's like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. You might need to pick up a couple of kits because you have that overall force. So probably a good, safe way to do that and not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm investing so much in this army and I have all these models on the shelf I can't even use. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again real soon.